Hey guys, in this video I want to mostly talk about Crest of Desire unique helmet, things that I discovered while doing some testings, what works and what doesn't, alternate quality skills with this helmet, is it even worth using it, and in the background as filler I have some clips from Infernal Blow with Actum Axe. But that's gonna be my next build video. Before I continue, maybe some of you have not seen that the next league is gonna be delayed because Cyberpunk got delayed and GG did not want to clash with Cyberpunk release, so they delayed it as well. So the next Path of Exile league is gonna be launched January, after Christmas. There's gonna be flashback events somewhere in between. So, Crest of Desire. When I first saw this helmet, I was very hyped because there are so many new alternate quality skills which could have a very interesting interaction with this helmet, because this helmet gives up to +8 to levels of socketed gems, up to +50% to quality of socketed gems, and socketed skills deal double damage. You may be asking what does get affected by that double damage. So I did couple testings and I found out that any of the damage over time does not work with it, like Scorching Ray, Vortex and stuff like that. Also, elements do not get modified by that, so Ignites and Poison would not get the double damage. Also, to my surprise, this double damage does affect minions socketed inside this helmet. And I verified that by using level 1 Summon Raging Spirit inside the helmet and seeing how many hits it takes to kill just normal enemies, and then using level 8 Summon Raging Spirits inside the tabula with no other supports, and basically the results are that the double damage does affect the minions. By the way, the helmet that I had was giving me +7 to socketed gems. That's why I mentioned that I was using level 8 SRS. So now the question is this helmet better than just an ordinary 6-link setup? And the answer is, sadly, in most cases it is not worth using this helmet unless you can get a corrupted helmet with +2 to socketed gems, like +2 to AoE, +2 to duration, stuff like that. Because this helmet has only one socket, so modifying socket colors is gonna be very easy. I did try to theorycraft couple builds. I really wanted to do something with that helmet. I did theorycraft Discharge Assassin, Cremation Elementalist, Firestorm Assassin, Spell Earthquake, plus maximum SRS build, Necromancer. I did theorycraft couple other builds that I did not save because nothing really looked better. Everything looked worse with the helmet than with the ordinary 6-link setup. The damage was around 30 to 50% lower with the helmet. There are some alternate quality skills that I thought could work well. Alternate quality that do something special, like giving you Impale for spells, like Ethereal Knives, or Fire Conversion to Heals for something like Flame Blast. And it is really hard to say. It's definitely possible to do it, but you do lack a lot of flexibility since you cannot add any support gems. The only time when it is worth using it, I think, is when a skill normally doesn't have a lot of support gems. Take for example Herald of Thunder. Since Herald of Thunder does reserve mana and adding support gems increases the mana reservation, getting up to +8 to skill levels and getting double damage and big quality increase at no mana cost is pretty useful. And since Herald of Thunder is not really a spell, it doesn't scale with spell damage, so support gems that do affect spells don't work with Herald of Thunder, so there aren't that many useful support gems for Herald of Thunder. Another actually tricky and confusing example is Molten Shell. I'm not 100% sure, but Molten Shell is counted as a reflect damage and it cannot be modified by the double damage. It's not considered a normal hit, it's like a secondary effect. But since normally you can't link that many support gems to Molten Shell, you may be able to make some interesting build with Crest of Desire Molten Shell, but it is not gonna be accurate in Path of Building, unless of course Path of Building fixes that in the future. Now here are a couple weird and unexpected testing results with alternate quality skills. Diversion Conversion Trap. You can get converted enemies to deal 1400% increased damage. However, I don't think that we're gonna get affected by the double damage, and there seems to be some kind of weird bug with it. The converted enemies do not count as minions, so the only way to boost their damage is through auras, but also you can't make them like have melee splash or just a normal AoE, so the clear speed obviously is gonna be bad. But I really wanted that meme to work, but I don't think that is gonna work. Next thing I tried is Phantasmal Decoy Totem, and this one is a bit interesting. The Phantasmal Decoy Totem makes totems explode on death, dealing 140% of their life as physical damage. That is inside the helmet with max quality. So I believe they would get affected by the double damage, it would also boost their life because of the helmet giving plus maximum levels, and because of the quality they would also do more damage. And the interesting thing is that when you resummon, you can proc that explosion. However, Deco Totem by default has 4-second cooldown, so you would have to figure out a way to get cooldown low enough, and you cannot use second wind. Also, by the way, the explosion AoE is pretty small. Next thing, I had Phantasmal Flame Blast, and this is completely bugged and absolutely trash. Well, maybe it's not bugged and is working as intended, but it's not doing any damage. And the reason for that is because Phantasmal Flame Blast gives 10% less area of effect per stage. It also gives plus 10 to radius. So basically, when you get to 10 stage, you have 0 AoE, which means you don't even have Flame Blast. It shrinks down to infinitely small. Even if you're not using inside the helmet, at 10 stages, it just becomes too small. And if you are using inside the helmet, at around 3 stages, it just stops exploding and stops dealing damage. I don't know if there is a way to counter that. You would need more AoE instead of increased AoE, but it just sounds like a useless gem. Next interesting thing is Phantasmal Earthquake. When using Phantasmal Earthquake in this max quality helmet, you get increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attack damage from this skill at 350% of their value. In short, it's like Round of Ice effect, but much stronger. Of course, you cannot support it with other useful support gems like Fist of War. If only you could combine Crest of Desire with Indigon helmet. So I don't know if Earthquake is actually worth it, because you would have to build around getting spell damage, and there aren't that many big sources of spell damage other than Indigon, which you can't use. But I think the biggest drawback for this is that, well, you can't use any other support gems. I would even say this helmet needs a buff, and the way I would buff it, I would just give an extra 1 socket, so it would have up to 2 sockets. It would give just a tiny bit of flexibility. And if you only want to use this helmet for quality, there is actually a similar item, Replica Void Eye, 30% quality to socketed gems. And you would probably just use some utility things like Arctic Armor. Anomalous Arctic Armor gives you a 20% chance to freeze enemies for 350 milliseconds when hit, and inside that ring you would have 50% chance. Or Divergent Rallying Cry. Divergent Rallying Cry inside that ring would give you buff has 200% more effect on your minions. And Rallying Cry basically takes your main hand weapon, and 20% of your main hand weapon damage will be added as a buff, but for minions it would be 200% more. So that would be one way of giving your minion damage. So in the end, I'm pretty disappointed with Crest of Desire helmet, and if you don't get max rolls on those mods on Crest of Desire, then it's absolutely not worth it. It does, however, give you like a weak suit of 5 link setup if you're using 2 skills. Maybe you could use that for the clear speed and then use another proper 6 link for single target, but that just kind of destroys the uniqueness of the helmet. So that's pretty much it for this video. Maybe I'm missing something, and maybe you have some ideas how to use this helmet more efficiently. If so, let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.